Yeah.
But they were like 65 to 70 million. Well, bro, you were off. The stunning thing is, and this is what people have to understand, even Warner Brothers, rival studios, Deadline Magazine, their panel of experts, literally nobody had this.
Yeah.
Nobody had this. Even their own distributor, Warner Brothers, was convinced it was going to be around. And, studios do tend to lowball a little bit, right? They get conservative, but there's no way that Warner Brothers was going, oh, we know this is going to do 300 million, but we're going to tell everybody it's going to do 130. No, that's not how it works. Renegade Online. And you're telling me even just 3-4 days ago, Warner Brothers themselves was suggesting that Minecraft was going to open at $65 million domestically and another $65 million internationally. Yeah, that didn't work out the way they had planned. But thank God, because it's now looking at $300 million. That's where we are right now. So quite a bit to discuss on this one.
I, too, am annoyed by all the people saying, well, this movie was always going to make money. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do about it? It had Jack Black in it. Just it might have worked in Mario. I didn't necessarily think it was going to work here with those trailers.
I didn't either. And even when those trailers came out a few months ago, I mean, I made the comment of like, Renegade Jr., he was like, yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be very good. I mean, that's what I was going by. But as the movie was approaching, all these kids still wanted to go see it. They're like, and they wanted to go meme it. And a lot of them even said that it wasn't that great, but it was fun to go and kind of goof on it. Also joining us is Pro. What's up?
Hey there. Happy to have good news. The cinemas definitely are celebrating today as they just might survive another season.
Yeah, exactly. And that's been the best news for this is the fact that this is really great for theaters. You got to imagine that the theater owners are elated at the business it's bringing in, even if it requires some extra help from the janitorial staff when it's all said and done, because they're making a bunch of money this weekend. No doubt about that.
But the theaters don't know what to do. I mean, it's so bizarre to have people there again. and you got to think, if it wasn't for this film, they were going to have to depend on Thunderdolts. Yeah. Thunderdolts was the next chance at salvation. And there was, let's just say that this one doing so well is like manna from heaven raining down on the cinema and multiplex owners. I'll tell you what, they saw Doomsday, and it was coming this year, not next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I wanted to pull up the long range forecast for Thunderdolts is not great. Oraxos, thank you for the 5 gifted Valiant Renegade channel memberships, and Swift -1 for 5. This Minecraft film, as the Daleks would say, what is happening? Explain, explain, explain. Yeah, exactly. There's
Basically, they made a movie for their audience. Like I shared you another clip of the one, and there's more than the one I just shared you where they've found, over 50 little Easter eggs in the movie already, or like blatant in your face Easter eggs. So you think about it, like that's exactly who the audience is for. They're calling this stuff out as it's brought up on screen and stuff like that.
That's it.
It's not like the Barbenheimer thing all over again, or Barbie more so, or Wicked and stuff like that. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's those things. I don't get it. I never understood Minecraft other than it was fancy video game Legos, but the kids dig it.
Movie's not that great, but it hit all the right notes for the audience.
Here's what we got to watch for, because Tom's naming the right movie when he brings up Barbie, right? So the question is, this is a movie that is made specifically for teenage boys or for young adult males. So let's call it the 12 to 22. I don't know. You could even call it the 10 to 29.
I would say you could even go a little lower than that, because I seen from what I seen of the demographically it looked like, and I knew a lot of people that were taking their younger kids to this too, because all the kids want to see this movie. Sorry, Pro, but I just want to say I think it reaches to that 6, 7, 8 age group. But you're right, it's more leaning towards the boys. That's true.
But the point you made about the Barbenheimer, right? So Barbie, here's what we've got to watch for, and we don't know the answer to this yet, and we're sort of unprecedented. That's why people didn't see this coming. I mean, there were people out there who said this was going to make more than $100 million. And Tom, we discussed this on the Pro Show on Thursday, right? So there was some idea that it could do this. What nobody, and I mean literally nobody, said was going to happen was that it was going to become the #1 video game-based movie of all time. Nobody said, oh yeah, that's going to be Mario.
opening at least so far. We can't speak to the final box office
Okay,
yet.
so
But
right.
That's what you're bringing up, Tom. That's what's so important. And I'll wrap this. When you bring up Barbie, you're exactly on the money, because what we don't know yet, but what we want to know, the Barbie crowd, they came back and they saw it over and over and over. You had moms and aunties and grandmamas bring the little girls to see Barbie and Skipper. I don't know. Skipper wasn't in it, was she?
Well, she was, but they tried to make a joke of her. But yeah.
Bringing them in, 3, 4, 5 times. And that drove it, despite it not being a 4-quadrant film, it drove it to these crazy numbers. What we don't know yet is this extremely front-loaded? Like, did everybody who wants a Minecraft movie go see it? Or
that's a question.
Are they going to keep seeing it over and over again and repeat all the lines and they know it by heart? Is it this generation's Monty Python? I don't know.
Well, it does have this going for it as far as what Legendary and Warner Brothers can look forward to, is that boys like to see movies again and again and again.
Yep.
And again.
That's where it's going.
And again. And they don't like to wait for them to come out on streaming or video.
No.
And moms will throw their kid in a theater if they know that they're going to be happy with it. And from what I've heard from a lot of friends with younger kids, and Andre included, the kids want to go back again.
Yep.
And again. And it's not just boys either. There's a good percentage of girls that are into this too. Yeah.
The takeaway for the viewers of the Valiant Renegade show, no matter how old you are, you can say chicken jockey now around an 8-year-old and they'll think you're cool.
This from Nancy Tartaglione, and I was hoping to have a little bit more of an update even from this morning by the time we started the show. It may happen still. 301 million global opening. Now, again, this is a movie that just 4 days ago, Warner Brothers themselves was projecting about 130 million to 140 million on Deadline's side of a global open. And it just obviously blew through that. And one of the things that we're looking at right now is 300 million even accurate? It might be 310. It might be. I mean, at the speed and the ferocity at which this thing is outpacing projections from the day before it opened. Well, this is one of those things you just can't keep up with. And
do we even know what the China box office is yet? Because that was the thing I was hearing, is that it was just decimating the box office over in China. So we don't even know the numbers there yet.
It's the biggest opening they've had. I know they did 6.6 million on the first day in China.
Well, I don't know if it's, I don't know about, I think it's the biggest U.S. movie opening. You're right. Because like it knocked that Ninja 2 movie off the top rung, which has been number
that's been there for like 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but still, no, it's made like $2 billion. It's their biggest movie ever or whatever. Like, something like that, or at least their biggest export or whatever.
Yeah, this is some of the details from the video that I did earlier this afternoon, but here we are at 301 million global opening. 144 million is from the international box office. Now, the thing is, Japan and Korea have not opened yet, and I think they're another week or two away.
Big market, yeah.
Yeah, big markets over there. So this is without even Japan and Korea. The best international start for a Hollywood feature in 2025 so far in the SO 75 markets. And I mean, when you look at it from this standpoint, I think they had some of the individual breakdowns here. In IMAX, almost 20 million global debut.
Sheesh.
Marks the best for the format since last summer's Deadpool and Wolverine. International markets delivered 6.6 million of the IMAX worldwide total. Europe, this is the biggest opening in 2025. The second biggest video game adaptation opening behind Mario by 6%. The biggest opening ever for Jason Momoa, and the second best for Jack Black. Again, this is in Europe. Now, and I mentioned this before because I know there's a lot of comparisons out there to Super Mario Brothers, which are valid comparisons, obviously, but I keep reminding folks that 3-day figure, it's a little bit wonky because Mario opened on a Wednesday.
Yeah, there was like a 4 or 5 day figure for Mario, right?
Yeah, the 5-day opening for Mario, in fact, I brought that up in the...
And this is even doing better than their opening day, which is crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, this was Mario back in 23. 377 million worldwide, 5-day. So if this does 300 million on a 3-day,
it's technically doing better, but does it have the legs? And I think that's the question we keep asking ourselves.
Right.
Is it going to have the Mario legs? And I think... I mean, I'm not going to try and lose this bet like I did the whole bet with Minecraft and say, yes, I think that it might leg out. I don't know if it's going to make as much as Mario, but I think that the boys are going to keep wanting to go back to see this movie. And as long as Warner Brothers and Legendary are smart and they don't put this thing out on video on demand too quickly, because I guess there's already, I haven't seen it myself, but I guess there is a leaked version of it that's an earlier quote unquote cut, although the movie itself is exactly the same. The big difference is the special effects aren't finished.
Right here.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bury your lead.
No, we're going to segue into it anyway.
Good segue,
but no.
then. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it leaked.
And then this didn't affect it at all was my point I was getting to. So yeah.
No, if anything, I made the argument earlier today in the video that this might have actually boosted the theatrical traffic because it went everywhere. It was basically a first draft CGI and VFX in there. It was nowhere near complete. But I think it was so campy and stupid enough that people that saw it were like, oh, we got to go see this thing. And I mean, everybody's doing the meme in the theater. It didn't affect the thing. And now they've apparently clamped down on most of these things and salvaged them. I mean, they're not out there anymore. But going back to this, you mentioned China.
Yeah.
The UK digs into Minecraft, a $20 million start, it looks like, and the biggest opening ever for Jack Black and Jason Momoa in China. Now that Niza 2 has started to settle, Minecraft unexpectedly ran the weekend, besting new local titles. The weekend there was at 14.5 million, number one all across 3 days. So, no telling where that's going. Now, it's great because
that's the biggest opening in China for any black, period. Sorry, I had to.
That's what they said it in the article. There is no movie that has really enjoyed much life in China at all in recent years. They've kind of ditched the American box office with rare exception. So, I mean, if this movie winds up making its way in China to, 50 to, even 50, 60, 70, 100 million, I have no idea what it's going to do there. I mean, 14 million start. But I mean, look, that's still one of the biggest Hollywood productions that they've had over there in terms of box office in quite some time. I mean, China just doesn't do the U.S. studios many favors anymore. But
China has basically banned video games, so maybe the kids there are going into the theater and pretending they have a controller in their hands, living the good old days.
But looking at the domestic side on this one, then we can get in some discussion. 157 million. Now, this was at 8:23 this morning, Pacific time. Granted, so about 11:30-ish Eastern. So in other words, I mean, this was making another assumption before the Sunday box office had even really started yet anywhere. This 157 we've seen this again. It could be low. Every time we see a box office outstrip projections, I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw one more than double what the projections were. And this were more than double what the projections were a day before this movie opened. I don't even know what to tell you what Sunday's. I mean, this could be 160, could be 165 million by the time we get the real figures tomorrow and Tuesday. I mean, this is how nuts this thing is. And it just still boggles my mind how far off they were in those early numbers, Warner Brothers included. So, y'all.
Well, that's what Brett was saying in the intro, right? Like, because we all were kind of off. Even the few people who said, I know there was a few people, I think Paul, Chado, and a few others I want to give credit to, I can't remember exactly, who said that don't underestimate, the walk-up box office basically for this movie because of the popularity of it, and it may be a little bit different for us to be able to kind of predict that, but we didn't even start seeing it until Wednesday, Thursday, when things started picking up that we were going to see this kind of an opening, and we didn't know, and Brett's right, none of us really knew.
Yeah.
Listen, there's an unsung hero of this channel, someone who holds us all together, the glue, if you will. Valiant, your son, Renegade Jr., knew this all along. He tried to tell us. We weren't listening to him. He knew it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, when the first time he saw the trailer months ago, it doesn't look that great, but he still wanted to go see it.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.